Good afternoon. Today is the 20th of November and this is the second part of a week with a 2021 MG HS 1.5 exclusive manual. One of the things that I've noticed since we did the first part, which I'll put a link to in the description below, is the colour of this car. I'm not actually sure that it's sold anymore. I know I said in the first part that they have changed this from, I think the laser blue originally was it, to a colour called Brixton blue, but they've actually changed the colour again in a more recent thing on the website. I can't remember what the colour is. I'll have to put that in a later part, but the press information I have does actually say Brixton blue, so I'm going with that. So we've just been doing some no budget reviews here in Sussex. Short notice no budget reviews. And yes, we've done around, I think, 80-90 miles today, but we'll be off to Horsham quite soon to film something which I hope you will consider to be rather special. Something from one of the companies that formed MG's past. Great cars and a great deal more from Leyland cars. Oh, I'm so sorry, viewers. I shouldn't sing on camera, should I? It's not going very well. Actually, where am I? The last memory I have is being in a Rover 75 in West Sussex in the dark. Somebody gave me this DVD. Where am I? Well, at least I haven't lost the car. I'm in the car, but I'm going to have to find out where I am. Norman Road. Oh my gosh. This is New Haven. Yes. In 1974, this is the road where, let me just lock the car. This is the road where they discovered the Ford Corsair that had been used by Lord Lucan to escape from London. It belonged to a friend of his. They found lead piping in the boot, and he disappeared, never to be seen again. I did a series on the channel back in the winter during the lockdown, in the very early part of this year, where I looked at some peculiar old car adverts in 6 parts. And I always wondered who was providing me with the VHS tapes that the adverts were on. Is he still around here? Where is he? Maybe we'll never know. Anyway, just checked my watch. Whoever left me in that car last night has given me enough time to get to Hampshire for some filming with Mr. Bill from the Wells Wheels channel, so I'd better get going. Well, viewers, here we are on a windswept country lane in Hampshire, and Mr. Bill has been driving the HS for his review. We've just literally finished. As you can see, the camera is here. I'll just ask Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill.
Hello.
Have you been enjoying the MG HS manual today?
I have, very much so. I really like the colour of this one as well, actually. It's powerful, it's punchy, gets you where you need to go, and look at the size of it. It's huge, it's massively practical.
Yes, it is. Well, you can watch the review of the 2021 MGHS 1.5 exclusive manual on the Walls Wheels channel.
Yes, you can.
Excellent. Right, I'd better get back to my lady wife now, sir.
You had.
Indeed.
I shall give you the key back.
Thank you, sir.
There we go. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
My pleasure, sir. One of the things I'm very grateful for in this car is this panoramic sunroof. Just finished with Mr. Bill. He will be on his way back to Wiltshire now, and I have to go and see my lady wife because I've been quite absent over the last few days, as you might have seen the NEC show, and then also trip to Gloucester, trip to Sussex, and now been Mr. Bill, so I better get back. It is a nice car to drive this. The thing is, the engine's very coarse. It doesn't really even reward you for sort of revving it out or not. Ooh, the sunset is reflecting in the back window. How nice. It is a bit coarse. It's nothing like as pleasurable to listen to as the KV6 engine in my Rover 45. But, you know, small capacity turbocharged engines very often do sound like this these days. I also noticed that the infotainment screen went blank when I was driving back from Sussex this morning. It just turned completely off. The car kept running, but it's the first time I've seen that. It's done that actually in the other two cars with touchscreens that I've owned, which is the Seat Toledo and then later the Sanyong Tivoli. That's done that as well in those. So it's not exclusive to MG, it's just a bit annoying. If I hadn't known where I was going, it could have been a bit alarming, but I did know where I was going, fortunately. Also, because the suspension is quite soft and the ride is a little bit bouncy in this car, it does kind of sort of pitch a bit over speed bumps and things like that, and that can be a little bit alarming. Actually, the damping isn't as good as a lot of cars that I've driven. Not necessarily cars like this, but just generally a lot of other cars. Maybe it's just due to this, you know, big car being very heavy and having quite a raised ride height, but it does that. I mean, I'd have to drive more cars in this class to sort of see if it's a really, really bad thing or not. I suspect with suspension being very soft, which generally is quite good for the sort of smaller bumps, it's just when you go quite fast you notice it more than you do going slowly. Actually, the ride at the moment is very, very good. I have very much enjoyed it though, just dealing with Mr. Bill and just discussing the rivals to this car. Things like the Skoda Karoq and the Hyundai Tucson, the Kia Sportage, Mercedes Ateca and Renault Kadjar. Only one of them can be had for less than the cost of this car, not as tested, but the base price without a metallic paint on this car, and that's the Skoda Karoq, and that's the base model. Costs £300 less than this particular one, but this isn't the base model, this is the top of the range manual one. The bottom of the range Excite, which isn't really bottom range either, because there was an Explore version of this car available for some time when they first came out, but that's not actually on the market anymore. So the bottom range of the Excite, which starts from £21,500, that's over £2,000 less than the Karoq, which I think is £23,700. And you know, if you then compare the top of the range, Karoq, admittedly it has a bit more power than this, it does have a few more features, but it's £30,000. Every other one that I've mentioned, the Ateca, the Sportage, the Tucson and the Kadjar, every one of them starts at, I think, at least £1,000 more, and that's for the base model. And the only one that has the same warranty as this is the Kia at 7 years and 100,000 miles. Granted, this is only 80,000 miles, but nevertheless, it does make you think, actually, quite a lot about the value proposition, as they say in the sales world, of this car. Because, you know, £24,000 is quite a lot of money for what traditionally was quite a value-orientated brand MG. In some ways it sort of still is, but you know, this car in many ways does have the kind of quality to match a lot of those. Some ways perhaps it doesn't, but most of the time it does, and it just makes you think. And the plug-in hybrid versions of some of these cars, such as the Tucson, they're like nudging £40,000. It's got a few more things in it, but again, the plug-in hybrid version of this is £8,000 less than a Tucson. It just makes you think, really, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm going to come back tomorrow when we've been to the shops, and we'll see just how practical this car is for the weekly shop, because you know, I think nearly all of us used to do that, don't we? It is a bit dark, viewers, but hopefully you can see we've got an LED boot light. This is actually not just one lot of weekly shopping, this is two lots of weekly shopping. It's ours and my mother's shopping in here, and well, I mean, there's loads more room, and because of this entirely flat floor, you can just slide everything in. The only thing is, these toilet rolls are actually a little bit higher than the groove in the low blind, so I mean, I'm sure I could have packed that differently, but we just have to leave the low blind off for now. Apart from that, it's pretty good. This car would have an electric tailgate if it was the automatic version or the plug-in hybrid, but it isn't. Oh, we've got scrolling indicators going on as well. Right, I shall come back to you tomorrow. Good morning. Today is the 23rd of November, and we've only got one car on the drive because my lady wife has taken our Rover 45 to work today, but because she's at work, she's given me the task of transporting something for her. Yes, we have put some stuff down to make sure we don't mark the upholstery and things in here. So you can see the bike actually fits really nicely. There's under an inch of clearance on this side, and that's fine because that's actually just sort of foam, so it actually goes in fairly easy. It's better if you've got two people because there's quite a lot of distance between the ground and putting it in, so I'll have to drag this out myself when I get to the cycle repair place where the bike needs a service. But yes, if you want to transport a bicycle, this car will do the job for you very nicely. It's kind of a shame that tomorrow it's being picked up, but the good news is MG have given me another car to test, which obviously will appear in a forthcoming video. Right, I'd better get going to the cycle shop. Right, viewers, this could actually be the last journey that I take in this car. It's being picked up tomorrow, but because it gets dark so early, I think I'm going to have to film this now rather than later. I'm actually having the car swapped over for another MG model, which you'll probably see on my channel. So today I've done 35 miles. That includes taking the bike to the cycle workshop to have it repaired. I don't know if it's going to be ready today, so it might actually have to go in the other car tomorrow. The average fuel economy for the journey, which is a lot of sort of urban driving and just running around, it's about 31.4. Total, you've got to take about 83 miles off that, because that includes the delivery driver bringing the car to Eastleigh, 617 miles, so it's just short of 550 miles this week, which isn't too bad, and the average fuel economy is about 35. Shows you how much motorway driving I've been doing. The best fuel economy that I've got is actually about 40. It's between 36 and 40 on the motorway, this car, which isn't too bad. One of the things I'm appreciative of at the moment is being very large door bends. You can see you can put a pack of Fusilier in there with no problem whatsoever, and you also can stash your emergency pack of skips in the glove box. I don't have my secret mission documents with me today, otherwise I would be using them. But yes, I think you've seen the outside of the car a number of times during this ownership report. We might just have a look at it. The bongs. It's my favourite. Look at it. I've just dropped my mother off, so there's her car. The lighting's not very good in that direction, so I'll point it away from there. But unfortunately, we will have to maybe hoover the boot out because of all this stuff in there. We've still got it in there just in case we are picking the thing up, but we have laid it underneath the bicycle. I'm going to just get some kind of cloth or something and just get some of this off, although I suspect they might have to clean it anyway, but I just want to get some of that off there on the side, but you can't see particularly, but sort of there, just get some of those off. Yes, it's been good. I kind of want to try an automatic one of these now at some point, so maybe I will ask them for one. Now I've done a plug-in hybrid and the manual version. Obviously, cars I have reviewed before. I mean, the first review of this was on my channel in late 2019. I think I was one of the first channels to actually review this car. Along with Planet Auto, he was a little bit earlier, and I think Auto Bears as well. He was at the press launch, so that's why he's one of the first. Plug-in hybrid, reviewed about December 2020 when it came out. The automatic one, no, I haven't done that yet. Right, anyway, let's head back and I think draw some conclusions about this car. That will be the final section of this second part. Right viewers, this might be the final drive of the MGHS 1.5 exclusive manual. Depends if we have to go to the bike shop or not later on, but I won't film that because it actually might be dark by then. And I've done some filming in the dark, viewers, that you would have seen on both parts 1 and 2 of this, and it doesn't often go particularly well, as I found out also in my recent Rover 75 review. So the engine in this car has actually got a lot of torque. It has 165 brake horsepower, but it has a lot of torque, and from very low down as well. I think it's about 1,500 RPM, so you never really find yourself going over 3,000 RPM in this car. You just don't need to do it in virtually all situations. The ride is actually very good. I know it sometimes comes as a bit bumpy on camera, but just most cars with the setup that I've got. But it is quite soft. The problem is that the car gets bouncy and will pitch over speed bumps, and particularly at higher speeds on sort of country roads, as I found out when I was coming back from New Haven the other day. The auto handbrake feature and the electronic handbrake, I thought it was going to be a nightmare actually in this car, but the automatic handbrake with the auto hold feature, which I'm going to use just now, there we go, it's just sort of cut in and it's on. So there we go, I didn't press anything and it came on. Right, off we go, and it actually cuts the engine as well at the same time. Now, a lot of you out there will hate automatic handbrakes. You will hate automatic start-stop. You'll hate those sort of things. But for the average person who is just taking an MG to a dealer every year for an annual service and doesn't work on the car themselves, those are probably nice things to have. It does call into question though some of the later reliability, because electronic handbrakes are much more difficult to work on than conventional ones, much more difficult. And the next car that will come, excuse me, hopefully tomorrow, has a normal handbrake in it. And actually, you know, that will be very nice for a lot of you, and it might be nice for me too, I don't know. The steering actually is reasonably direct to this car. It's better than, you know, a lot of steering systems that I've used in other modern cars, which is reassuring. Fuel economy we've just seen. Now, whether or not you find that disappointing depends on your point of view. I mean, this is a very big, heavy car with a petrol engine, and you can't expect it to be really sort of too extraordinary in this. Might just adjust this sun visor. There we go. That's all right. I'm being blinded. Gearbox is quite nice, although it gets a little bit stiff when it's cold. In reverse, it's very stiff. You've got to be quite deliberate to get that in. Comfort is very good. The long distance comfort of this car is unsurpassed, in my opinion. I've never driven a car as comfortable as this. Even my mother, who is very, very hard to please when it comes to cars, very, very difficult to please, my mother. She has very strong preferences and things, and she actually said this car is very comfortable, which is good, although she had to stand on a step to get in and out of it, being sort of 5'3" and curvature of the spine. That can be a problem sort of for her with cars like this. I do like the acceleration. It is very, very punchy, and particularly as we're heading for the motorway, we will put our foot down and see what happens, but I don't need to exceed 3,000 RPM, I don't think, really. The plug-in hybrid version of this has a lot more power. It's about 95 horsepower more than this. But do you sort of need it? If you drive a plug-in hybrid, you'd probably say that you do, but if you just drive this, you'll be none the wiser and you'll save yourself about £8,000. I think at the beginning I said that this car was, at the beginning of part 1 I should say, the car was about £23,000. It's a little bit more than that now. The car has risen in price very slightly, but if you compare it to virtually anything else in the class, I'm sorry about the lighting, there's nothing I can really do about it. That's the best that we're going to get. Other cars in the class, like the Skoda Karoq, the Kia Sportage, the Hyundai Tucson, things like that, those are the main rivals of this car. Sanyo and Corando. You find the only one that comes close to pricing is the Corando, and that is a really good car, but at the top end it gets really expensive. It gets much more expensive than this. I think comparably equipped, the Corando is about £25,000 or £26,000, whereas this one is £23,995, excluding metallic paint. Skoda Karoq, the base model, bear in mind this is the exclusive, this is the top trim, although you do get a few more features on the plug-in hybrid and the automatic version, but you're only going for manual cars at the moment. This base model Skoda Karoq is £300 less than this, but then again, that's the base model. You don't get anything as sort of fancy as this sort of thing in here. You don't get all this fancy stuff. The base model of this is about £21,500, which is significantly less than that Karoq, and it still comes with a more powerful engine. There was an Explorer base model initially when this car was launched in 2019, but they dropped it quite soon when they dropped all the Explorer models of the MG range, because simply nobody was buying them. Nobody was buying them, which is fair enough. I think they sold 30 post-facelift MG3 Explorers, about 30. They're very, very rare because nobody bought them, and I think that's fair enough. Make the trim structure nice and simple. Cruising on the motorway very, very nicely here. Very clear instruments. You can have additional speed if you want as well. Just a really nice car for doing lots of long journeys, and I think that's the main reason, or just putting loads of stuff in. You've got to be aware though that do you really want a car like this? I mean, maybe something like a Seat Leon ST or something like that would be better for some people's needs. But if you wanted to equip one to quite this sort of standard, it might even cost you more. It might even cost you over £25,000. Well, this is 24, so I don't know. It just depends really what you want. I think that's it though, viewers. We've probably had quite enough of me talking for a long time in these two parts. But thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, Please don't leave rude comments, because I will just remove them. I've had a couple of rude comments on these sort of weekly ownership reports I've done on the MG, said, oh, you're really boring, or it's the worst video I've ever watched. If that is the case, then just go and watch something else and turn it off. That goes for anything on YouTube, that's the beauty of it. Anyway, yes, thank you again to MG Motor UK for the loan of this car, which has been very nice of them, and I will see you again for the next report.